Okay, so today's read aloud is Nanaue. Everyone say Nanaue.
Nanaue.
So on the front driveway of our school, we have our mural. Everyone say Ho'omana'o.
Ho'omana'o.
Ia.
Ia.
Ke kupai naha.
Kupayanaha.
So that means to remember the extraordinary, and these are one of our mo'olelo of the Wai'anae Moku. Say Wai'anae Moku.
Wai'anae moku.
A long, long time ago, when Umi was the reigning king, there lived a beautiful young woman by the name of Kalei. Everyone say Kalei.
Kalei.
She was indeed well known on the island for her beauty. She was also famous for being an expert water woman, especially in the sport of lelekawa, or high diving from the rocks into the deep ocean water. Everyone say lelekawa.
Lelekawa.
One of Kalei's most favorite things to do was fish in a small pond near her home. She loved to eat opihi and vana fresh from the reef and always remembered to bring home a small bundle of delicious limu as a gift for her parents. However, Kalei was not the only one who enjoyed swimming in small ponds. Kamohoali'i, the famous shark god, also lived nearby. He would often seek out small pools to relax and fish in as well. Sometimes when swimming, he would assume the form of a shark. Other times, especially when he was around people, he would take the form of a man. Okay, so everyone say Kamohoali'i,
Kamohoali'i.
shark god.
Shark god.
So on one particularly beautiful day, as the shark god was enjoying the cool waters of his small pond, he noticed Kalei as she was gracefully diving from the tip of the rocks into the sea. I want you guys to extend your hands up and use your hand to act like you're Kalei diving off into the sea. Maikai. So Kamohoali'i admired the young woman's beauty and desired to talk to her. He quickly came up with a plan to get her attention. Using his powers, he created large waves to frighten Kalei. Kalei swam with all her might, but could not escape the rough seas to climb ashore. Kamohoali'i waited for a short while before diving into the water to rescue Kalei. He grabbed hold of the exhausted young woman and swam her back to shore. With Kalei in his arms, Kamohoali'i safely made it onto the sand and into Kalei's heart. Everyone say, "Aww." Over time, Kalei and Kamohoali'i became close friends, and it was not uncommon to see them together. And because they both shared a great love for the ocean, they spent much of their time at the shore fishing, surfing, diving, and swimming with one another. Okay, now can I have you turn and talk with someone next to you? What are some of the things you like to do at the ocean?
Fishing.
Listening and looking in 3, 2, and 1. The young couple soon fell in love. With the consent of her parents, Kalei and Kamohoali'i were married. They decided to be married on the very shoreline where they first met when Kamohoali'i saved Kalei's life. It was not long until Kalei found out that she would soon be having their first child, that Kamohoali'i revealed his true identity to her. "I am Kamohoali'i," he said, "and I am the god of all sharks. The child you are carrying will be half human and half shark. Our child must never be fed any meat," he continued. Kalei, though very much surprised by all that Kamohoali'i had just shared with her, agreed to raise their child without meat. Nanaue was the name Kalei gave to her healthy baby boy. Everyone say Nanaue.
Nanaue.
Although he appeared to be like any other boy, he was born with a shark's mouth on his back, between his shoulder blades. Kalei was very worried that others would find out Nanaue's secret, so she kept the shark mouth on his back hidden under a cape. Everyone say under a cape.
Under a cape.
As Nanaue grew to be a young boy, he was soon allowed to eat with the men of the family in the halemua. Say halemua.
Halemua.
Nanaue's old grandfather, who did not follow the warning of his daughter to keep meat away from Nanaue, began feeding his grandson pork and other meats. He wanted Nanaue to grow up to be a strong and skilled warrior Bring up your arms and say, strong and skilled warrior.
Strong and skilled warrior.
Nanaue's body did indeed grow strong, but so did his appetite for eating flesh. Nanaue grew up to be a very handsome young man and spent much of his time working in his mother's garden. His appetite for meat also grew. Nanaue began watching people as they would pass by his home on the way to the beach. Sometimes Nanaue would even follow the travelers down to the shore. There began to be reports of people going down to the sea and never returning. If a large group of people went to the sea, they would most likely all return. However, if only 1 or 2 people left to go fishing, they were never heard from again. Nanaue would wait for people to go down to the shore. Once he saw them step into the ocean, he would change into his shark form and slip into the sea. He would swim up and grab his unsuspecting victim, taking them into the deep part of the ocean. One day, Nanaue and a few other men were working in the lo'i. As always, Nanaue had on his kapa cape, even in the hot sun. While he was working on this particular day, his cape was accidentally torn off his back. "Look at the shark mouth," one of the men exclaimed. "He's a shark man." Nanaue realized that his secret was discovered and took off running toward the ocean. The men of the village chased after him, but once Nanaue's feet touched the water, he quickly turned into his shark form and easily escaped into the sea. Nanaue swam for many days, traveling here and there throughout the Hawaiian Islands. It seemed that everywhere he went, there were people trying to capture him. Finally, he came upon a large dark cave near the shoreline in Kaneana, at the edge of Ohikilolo Valley, and made it his new home on the island of Oahu. Okay, so everyone say Kaneana, Ohikilolo. Okay, so that's one of our ahupua'a in the moku o Wai'anae. When Nanaue was not in his cave, he was out in the ocean nearby, waiting for swimmers to cool off in the refreshing water. He would attack the swimmers and take them back to his cave, where he would make a feast out of them. On one clear morning after a night of heavy rains, Nanaue left his cave to go for a swim. To his surprise, he came across a beautiful young woman sitting atop Pohaku Kula'ila'i, enjoying herself in the sea spray and splashes of the great waves upon the reef. Though beautiful, she was no ordinary woman. This was the mo'owahine, or lizard woman, of Ko'iahi stream. This mo'owahine would only come down to the shoreline after the rains connected the mountain streams to the ocean waters. Nanaue spent much time with her, and for a while, her love and companionship kept Nanaue satisfied. Nanaue came often to visit the mo'owahine at Pohaku Kula'ila'i, and the young couple were happy for a long time. After a while, however, Nanaue's hunger for human flesh returned, and he began hunting swimmers and fishermen again. But whenever the mo'owahine was lonely, she would call Nanaue to visit her, and he would come. Nanaue would travel from Kaneana Cave through an undersea passage and swim to the blowhole there at Makua. He would wait for a wave to push him up to the blowhole and toss him ashore, where he then turned from his shark form into a handsome young man. The men of a valley nearby soon learned about Nanaue and his habit of hunting and eating innocent people. They asked the kahuna for help in capturing the shark man. The kahuna told them to hide near the entrance of Nanaue's sea cave and await his return. When Nanaue arrived at the cave, the men jumped out from their hiding places and attacked Nanaue. Though Nanaue was powerful, the fierce men fought him with all their might and eventually killed him. The mo'owahine, not knowing that anything had happened to her beloved Nanaue, went out to Kula'ila'i to call him as she usually did. She did not know that Nanaue had been killed and that he would never visit her again. Saddened and imprisoned by her love for the shark man, the mo'ovahine continued to call him day and night, awaiting his return. It is said that when the mo'ovahine was not in the stream, its waters would run clear. But ever since the death of Nanaue, the mo'ovahine has not left her home. It will remain covered in greenery until her lover is once again in her embrace. Pi pi holoka'au. The end. Clap for the story.